Okay. So you've seen the good and the bad of the ESG and sustainability space now. Let's move on to something a little more optimistic. So I'll share my screen. It is visible?
Yes.
Okay.
We can see sustainability sisters and deep green now.
Perfect. So let me set some context for this. Okay. So this is a startup that is working in heat capturing for data centers. Now we all know the ongoing issues of heat waves and how much data centers are adding to our issues is just making them more worse, right? We know that they're extremely noisy. They produce incredible amount of heat and they require a lot of water to keep them, cool. So not only they're a burden on the grid, they're also a burden. They also have water stress connected to them. I think there was some study that talked about our one search on ChatGPT is equivalent to like 1 pint of water being evaporated to cool down that data center. Already, data centers are approximately like 2% of our entire energy grid, but it's just going to increase, right? With AI demand, with more heavy computing demand, it's projected that we need at least 10 times the amount of data centers that we have right now. And if you actually think about it, data centers are not like an old news. They've existed for about 20 years. They were not there before that. It's just been like 20 years that they have been there. We have already used most of the cheap electrons in our grid. So to fuel the 10%, 10 time more demand that is going to come in future, it's a big challenge. It's a big challenge. That's the negative side of it, right? But then the other side of the coin is what this startup is thinking about. So the startup founder is Mark, and he has a very interesting view to look at this thing. Rather than looking at it as a problem, he looks at it as a asset. And I remember listening to a podcast where he was talking and he made this incredible, interesting point where he actually said that when you look at computers, they are a brilliant asset. They're brilliant electric heaters, basically. So whatever electricity that goes in the computer, 97% of it comes out as heat. So, you have to look at them like we are looking at, say, wind turbines or solar panels. If we can't get away from the data center and the data computation demands that we have, might as well look at them as as a great asset that will provide us heat. And what we're doing right now is actually counterproductive. We have this amazing data centers, but they're like in the middle of nowhere. They're heating up. We are spending X amount of money to charge them, and then we are wasting X amount of water to keep them cool, which is counterproductive. So now what Deep Green is doing actually, it has decided to utilize the excessive heat that gets produced while data centers are running and to use them to provide free electricity to heat up community places, to heat up swimming pools, basically for multiple purposes. Anyone can be a host of the data center. So the solution is pretty simple. Rather than having the data center, a big data center in the middle of nowhere, anyone can be a host to the data center. It can be your own garden, right? And whatever heat is being generated through that, since you are the host, you get access to that heat. You can use it to power up your house.
But
So
like,
that is what.
yeah, so this is a good thing, but I think this is for the colder regions, is it? Because here we
Yeah,
don't.
it's more. Yeah, it's not for you. It's mainly for the Nordic regions where you need a lot of heat. You need heat. But if you look at it, you can actually it can be used as a heater, but heat can also be converted into electricity, and then it can be further used to power up. But currently, the main application that they are targeting is because it's a fairly new thing for them. So the scale, they've not scaled it up. They've received a very big investment. They're collaborating with like Octopus Energy and everything. But currently, the application that they are looking at is heating swimming pools. And then the vision of the founder is not that. The vision is to actually tap into the main heating grid of, say, UK and power up or heat up homes. That is his vision. But he's starting from here. And then he wants to scale it up.
Yeah, I
So
think
that's what they're doing.
yeah. I think because their problem and our problems are a little bit different, and those people, they are in colder regions, so they understand um like heating swimming pools is still like, again, but yeah, if it can be thermally pumped into their central thermostats, I think that is cool.
So that is his goal actually. He was talking about it, how he wants to actually get into the grid. That is when his vision for him will reach, the point that he wants to reach. Since it is a fairly new thing, he wants to start it with a simpler application and then scale it up to that, because getting into a grid, it's a lot more technical and cumbersome for someone with a smaller scale.
Yes, yes.
But the vision that he has, it's the idea of looking at a problem and flipping the coin and see how can you turn it around and look at it as try to find some solution in that problem is something that's very interesting to me. So that is what caught my eye actually for this startup, is how he presented computers as basically like electrical heaters. You cannot get away from computers. We cannot live currently without computers. So might as well utilize them. And AI is going nowhere, right?
Yeah.
Currently.
Yeah, going by this rate, I can only imagine we can convert our Indian data centers into a kitchen and we can use them for like cooking food. It's already
Yeah.
so hot.
And it's a fairly interesting concept, right? Application can be tweaked basis regional demands.
Yeah.
Since it's a UK and European based startup,
Yeah, yeah.
so the solution is more oriented towards,
Them.
say, a person in UK would face. But
Yeah.
something like this can also be implemented here. Maybe not as heat in our homes, maybe heating a stove or maybe converting into our electricity. And we also have fairly colder regions in India, right? It's not that it's just
It's
we
more.
are
It's
yeah,
So,
but we are
yeah.
so in this, it is said that computers are submerged in mineral oil and capturing heat.
yeah, that's the process that they do to capture it. We have an engineer with
The
us who
computer
can
is
explain it
inside the
better.
oil so that it conducts the heat, then that heat gets transferred.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
So that is a startup that caught my eye. So that's one news. Another one that we're talking about is this company. So we have currently Lotte Chemicals had a deal with Neste. Neste is in the business of renewable fuel and feedstocks for polymers, right? So they have this. So Neste is basically a Finland-based company. Lotte Chemicals is, I think, a South Korean company. And instead of using, say, fossil to make plastics, we are seeing companies moving into more renewable based feedstock to make those hydrocarbons for the plastics that they need. And one example is this deal between Lotte and Neste. So they are buying this product of Neste, which is called Neste RE, which basically is a polymer for renewable and recycled sources. It's an alternative for fossil material. And according to the company, it can be actually switch 1:1. Like you can, so there is a 1:1 replicability between RE, Nestle RE, and a fossil fuel, which I think is pretty great. And if they have conducted an LCA, and according to them, if you use this, it can actually lead to, because they have two forms of product. One is completely 100% bio-based material, which is from waste and fat, and other is basically chemically recycled plastic. So if we use the completely 100% bio-based material, it can actually lead up to 85% reduction and the other one can lead up to 35% reduction in their emissions. Things like these are pretty interesting to me, seeing these switches and companies taking this proactive approach to switch out their traditionally used materials, because changes like this, even to change as a human is difficult, to change as a company is also a difficult thing. And for them to embrace this change and, really accept it, and there are companies out there who's offering all these products, it's brilliant and amazing to me. And this makes me actually optimistic about this journey that we're taking as a planet together. Yeah, so that's from my side. Anything
Thanks.
that you want to add?
Yeah, this is cool actually. But what ultimately is coming out is plastic, no?
Yeah, but then the feedstock is comparatively recycled. So it's not like a solution per se. See, there's no perfect solution right now. It's all these small steps.
Yes, agreed. Like sustainable aviation fuel.
Exactly. They also make that. But yeah, solution won't be like a drastic thing, right? It's all this somewhere in the
Small
value
steps,
chain,
small
one piece
steps.
would be removed and a more renewable piece would be added. And then before we know it, hopefully the entire value chain is, say, sustainable in future.
Yeah, let's see. Hopefully they are also using the organic plastic that Prerna just introduced. So that makes it even more sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So over to you, Sanchari.
Okay. Let me know when you can see my stage. Good. Yeah. Okay. That's tough to mistake. So this was Amazon's warehouse. This is like a huge health and safety risk where these guys have been told, yeah, unless and until you have completed unloading 6 full trucks worth of saman, you cannot get a bathroom break, no bio breaks. And this they were told during their 30-minute tea break. You already know, right? Amazon के workhouses में there's a lot of people who work on very little money, and they work around the clock to get stuff delivered to homes over here. And Amazon, like it has its services in India, does not share the same vibe in the US. 'Cause I was speaking to one of my friends, and उनके यहाँ पे कोई Amazon delivered product पहुँचने के लिए easily एक week के ऊपर तक लगता है. And so we have 1 day deliveries. It's crazy.
Yeah.
These guys are given 10,088 per month. That's not even 11,000 per month. And all of these warehouses are not in secluded locations. Some of them are right in between the city, जहाँ पे बहुत सारी cargo एक साथ आती है. This is the horrible thing to have done. Happened in Haryana only. So this is what I was telling you. When your health and safety conditions, even now working in the service sector, a lot of companies that we work with come up to us and say, okay, health and safety due diligence is not, I don't know, not applicable to our businesses because we are mostly service oriented. And you know that's not true, right? Even there are already companies in the same sector who are have good practices in place. I once spoke to a company and they responded saying, of course, we have a health and safety due diligence process for things like child labor, forced labor, and modern slavery, all of that. There are people who come from the regulator's office, do a due diligence check, ask a couple of verticals questions on all of these, and then they go back by printing a certificate. Now, before I had worked with these guys, I had no idea that there were other companies in the same sector who were actually getting this done. I said, तुम सोचो तो it is redundant. Yeah, nobody can get into a company who is a child. वो आपके इसमें आ जाएगा. It's basic. But even then, to take care of it, to actually get someone to, it's just a certificate, right? It's just some 1 or 2 people team coming in and checking what you have in place. Not that hard of a thing to agree upon. Even as a board or a senior management member, you can convince your management to get into this. So, I don't know, some of these guys out there having best practices. Anybody you have realized recently who's been into health and safety maybe don't need it, but do it.
So Amazon, this is again, I think this news is recent, but I had read it, I think last year, last year. I think it was in Bangalore. So for them, they have to like do packaging, they have to move around. So there should be some guidelines. I am not sure if there are number of toilets that those are available for these people.
So that is why these due diligence checks are so important, because something as basic as आपके manufacturing plant या warehousing में, where are the washrooms? How far are they from each other? How many are there exactly, distributed among the number of workers you have? But if you're not getting done these checks, and then you tell us these are not applicable checks, what?
I think our middle class, lower middle class is very, very susceptible because given the number of jobs in the country is less, and these people like last year only we read like so many people who have studied engineering, they are doing delivery on Zomato. So since people are so desperate, then that makes them very, very vulnerable. So our population itself is then vulnerable. I want to also like use this opportunity to again for Amazon. So they sent me a fan, which is a fan with the battery because lights are going too much in Jaipur. So I ordered this for my mother. So there was a big box. I thought I ordered two by mistake. Then there was another box. Then there was another box. There were three boxes, and then I found the fan. So I think still there is a lot of space for Amazon to improve everything, like from packaging to their human rights. I think human rights firstly takes a priority over any other thing, like at least basic good, respectable behavior towards their employees. So I agree. And hopefully Amazon loses from this news, at least some ESG rating should go down.
I hope so too.
With respect to ratings, no, I remember last year we were looking at Apple, and then Foxconn had these huge warehousing issues and manufacturing. Jahan uh, they were caught red-handed, basically doing some real scary malpractices against workers, and then the workers sued the company Foxconn, and that came upon to Apple. Apple does not pay enough to Foxconn to treat its workers carefully, and that heavily impacted Apple ratings that year.
Right. I remember actually reading that one. It's about not even having gloves and masks, not having proper ventilation, the shifts going up to like 16 to 18 hours a day. It's like inhuman. I think it was a Chinese factory. I think.
Yeah, Foxconn is a Chinese company. I'll share with you one other example, okay? And these guys are basically this whole startup culture that we are sharing in India, right? Where people are going into alternative livelihoods. This particular brand is a coffee brand. It's very close to my soul. My first handmade coffee brands that I tried right after joining my job here. Fancy coffee being. So, but then I figured out stuff about them later. I'll take you to their website. This is an absolutely sustainable living community-based coffee company. And what they do is similar to other companies. They work with the small rural groups that are already working on these lands. Especially these are in Karnataka only, close to the Nilgiris. And they engage with the community. They enable them. उनको पढ़ाते हैं farm sciences and how to get the most out of your produce, and a segment of it is given to them. The coffee, that is, and the money that they make out of it, they also lead an SAG in these areas. And all of their products, from the coffee to the coffee filters that they use, are that they produce, are sustainable. So the coffee filter that these guys have is a cloth filter, and then we have stories on these coffee filters and how other people have used them, and we journal it down. So here, caring for your khadi coffee filters. Then they have shown ki how to dispose of even that filter. So from cradle to grave, when we say it and when we see, there's a huge difference in the approach. But these guys are just so into it that they started just previous to the pandemic, and that had a huge impact on their business. So then now they've been doing really better. Please get coffee from here.
Nice. So nice to hear. There's such a brand that is doing
Wow.
completely from
I just want to
the
know the
processing to
price of a packet. Because I am assuming the sustainability cost gets transferred to that. So how much is
yeah.
वो है यार. Coffee has become a luxury segment in India, and it wasn't like other people were not doing it. There were bigger businesses out there. But with more and more of these boutique Indian firms coming in, no, with people actually wanting, and people from our generation, people don't want to do big corporates anymore. अपना कुछ करना है. They've stepped out of their comfort zones. Most of them have left corporate jobs and come to rural areas. And they're setting up these livable, workable environments and platforms where other people can come and join.
I think this is super. I also was discussing with your junior Rundi, this uh, who I forgot her name, Zeba, and she mentioned they went to Kerala and the farmer had a commercial crop planted like rose tea, green tea, blue tea, stuff like that, and he has transformed all of this into a very sustainable Airbnb. It gives you that experience. You can stay on the farm, then you can have food on the farm. So stuff like that. So our generation who have like good saved up, they have actually decided to go back to roots. And like from my friend also, she has I think bought somewhere a place in Karnataka, and she's also planning to like go and live and do hydroponics. So she and her husband does like read a lot about hydroponics.
These guys saving up. You can't buy a house, much less land anymore.
Yeah, it's so in villages, I think it's around uh 30-40 lakhs per acre. I think lesser than that. So if you have like 30 lakhs saved up, you can get an acre. But like minimum where you can actually grow your vegetables would be around 2.5 acres that you would want. So I think you have to hit like for now it would be around 80, and then probably 2 years from now 1.5 crores in savings. Yeah.
Actually, that is a very nice idea to bring out. Like, for example, there's we corporate people, what we do, what we need something in the weekend to do. So we can go in the farm and do just farming, see the farming, see the
Actually, what
plantation
Yeah,
stuff.
people have
do it.
done, yeah.
It's not very easy. So you have to be
Yeah,
part of a community which can teach you what kind of crop grows how, and how
yeah.
do you make an organic manure. And
Yeah, I know one such company that used to do this, that using these methods to do natural farming and all. I have worked there once. I once when I started my journey as a career professional, I worked in an agri-tech startup. So there I learned all these things.
All
awesome.
I learned is from my husband who continuously watches YouTube channels on how to make kheti. Do kheti, sorry.
Wow. So he's super educated, I guess.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. I was actually thinking this place, no, where I went last time in Mahabaleshwar. I was thinking I'll do an internship under her. So she knows the plan, she knows
You
how
do
to
need an
identify
internship.
them. She needs volunteers actually, if any one of you wants to go, please.
Free stay, snack out, or free food, whatever
Yeah,
works.
free food, free stay, free interaction with her pets. She has 2 cows and 1 dog and 2 cats.
Cows. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. So I guess this is the end, and today we actually covered a lot of topics. So I think it will be very good for us to also get some feedback from you of what kind of things that you would want us to discuss more, and anything that you would like to be added to this segment. So this segment is actually called Sustainability Sunday, and we are going to be soon inviting guests to our podcast. That's our hope, and let's see how it goes. Uh, Wish you all a very happy week. If anyone wants to add anything, please go ahead, and then we're going to end.
I really enjoyed the discussion. I learned so much just like talking to you guys. So many news. Like, I think I'm leaving this discussion more knowledgeable than I came in. So very fulfilling.
Yeah, very fulfilling. Zoot zoot, everyone.
See
Have a
everyone.
very good week. See you next week. Thank you for coming. Bye bye. Bye.
Have a
Thank
good week,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Have a good weekend, guys.